Hey, it's Michelle McGinnis, Transformation Specialist. Welcome to the Clarity Room. I'm glad you stopped by today. Today we're going to be talking about the topic of intentions, law of attraction, your to-do list. We're always working on something, always, whether it's at work or at home. There's always intentions being set. I don't like to call them to-do lists anymore because, to-do lists, that doesn't sound too terribly exciting. However, when we start to focus on what our intentions are for the day, what I found is we have heard many experienced self-help gurus, whatever you want to call them, talk about the power of quieting the mind. So I want to put a little different twist on that for you because quieting the mind, sorry, got a hair in my face. Quieting the mind seems like an insurmountable task to most people. So therefore, most people say, I don't have time to quiet my mind. I don't have time to meditate. I could say a prayer real quick, but that's about all I'm going to do, Michelle. Like, okay, I get that. What if I were to tell you you're not even there to quiet your mind? You're there just to slow the mind down. That's all I want you to think about. Slowing the mind down. Which means when you do your practice in the morning of slowing your mind down, what that's going to look like is you're going to set an alarm for 5 or 10 minutes. And you're just going to breathe. And you're going to allow yourself to become more in tune with what your body is telling you. Slowing your mind down allows us to recognize the feelings that we're having because our feelings are our indicators of where we are in the present moment, right? Okay, so we get that concept. So, let's say you get up this morning. You have an intention. Your intention is that you're going to be working on a few projects. But you wake up in the morning and you decide, okay, I'm just going to slow my brain down. That's why it's best to do it in the morning because your brain is usually a little slower. I'm going to just focus on my breathing. I'm going to count my breathing, and then I'm just going to get in tune with how my body's feeling. Because your body has emotions to it. Every emotion we have is a vibrational mixture that we can feel in our body, right? You can feel anxiousness. You can feel fear. But a lot of times we're so busy, we don't take the time to do it. So A, we're going to slow down the mind. B, we're just going to understand or get to a feeling place. So sometimes when you're in that feeling place, you might feel a little anxious about what you've got coming up that day while you're slowing your mind down. Okay, interesting. Feeling a little anxious today. Okay. Now, most of us would want to analyze the crap out of that. Like, why do I feel anxious today? Is the first question I ask myself too. And then I have to remember anxiousness just means what? Any feeling that does not feel the best in the body is an indication that you are not aligned with your inner self, your inner being. And what I mean by the inner guidance system is that it's your inner being that is it's the huge part of you that's connected to God, source, the divine, the universe, okay? So when you're feeling a feeling, it's like, ooh, okay, I'm a little off balance. Great. Okay. So what's happening is that your inner being still is communicating with you, even when this anxiety appears when you think about doing your to-do list or your intention list. So what are you going to do with that? You're going to take some more deep breaths, and then whatever pops in to your awareness field, like the idea of going and listening to Abraham on YouTube, or you know what, I feel like I need to go read a little bit today, or you know what, I need to go for a drive. Whatever it is that the idea that flows into your head is guidance from your inner being. And that inner being is going to help you get back into alignment so that it's easier for you to hear what your next step is. Because if you're sitting in anxiety, doing anything on your intention list is going to feel crappy. A lot of the times that means you're probably going to do the project over and over again. Or, you're going to phone somebody and they're not going to be there because you're not in alignment with who you are. Well, what the heck does this have to do with law of attraction and manifesting intentions? It's everything. Because sometimes when we go to do something, there's a piece missing. There's a piece missing that's going to help you go forward because your inner guidance system is constantly, quote, guiding you to get to the next step, to get to the next step, to get to the next step, to get to the big manifestation, right? We can't go from wanting something and then having it without going through some steps in between. Even if it's a quick manifestation, there were still steps in between. You had to go somewhere, you had to meet somebody, you had to read something in order for it to happen. So today, what I'd like you to do is start a practice of slowing your mind down. And I want you to quiet it. Quieting the mind is what monks do. And guess what? There's going to be times where you slow it down so much that there'll be a split second that you have no thought. And then all of a sudden you will have a thought. And the thought will be to go do something or be something. Or you'll have this internal feeling of, I need to call so-and-so. That thought will pop in your mind. That's not just a thing that you're supposed to ignore. That is inner guidance telling you what to do. So what happens is when we get really quieter, we can feel what we're feeling, and then we're guided to the next step. And this is what happens, I think, a lot for people who are trying to manifest some really big things and it's not coming quick enough, is they're not listening to the small baby steps that the inner guidance system is giving you. So I hope that's helpful today. I hope today you recognize and understand that slowing down the mind is not a difficult process. We all do it. You do it when you're going to sleep, my friends. You do it all the time. When you focus on slowing your mind, it's like saying don't think of a pink elephant. When I told you don't think about it, what are you doing? You're thinking about it. That's why I'm saying when it comes to meditation, don't think about quieting your mind. Just slow it down. You're just slowing it down. You're just kind of chilling. You're just kind of like, I'm going to spend some time just feeling my body because my body resonates with what my emotions are, and my emotions are directing me to the next step. It's very magical because the more you do that, the more that the next step will appear and the next step, and the ease and the flow becomes really magical. And that can happen on a daily basis. It can happen if you're in a situation you don't want to be in, if you're working at a job you don't want to be in, if you're in a relationship you're unsure about. All of this stuff works for every situation. Many blessings to you. Be the magic. You are magic. Live in the magic. Many, many blessings. Mwah.